the first one is there any specific time frame that helps defining the daily profiles? Because I recently start to look on something and it looks really helpful for now in the past 2 weeks.
When you say
But
profile, what do you mean by profile?
I mean, how the day is gonna develop, like from the Asia session to London and to the New York.
Yes.
So if Asia is gonna be, let's say, I am on the concepts about the fractal models and on a little bit higher time frames, but yeah. So I wanted to ask if there is any specific higher time frame that shows, for example, Asia is the low of the day or the high of the day. So
Yeah. Let me cut
London
you
is
short.
going.
Yeah, I know what you're asking, so I'm gonna save you some
I'm not
time.
sure. I'm not sure if I have to ask straight about the
No,
time
no, no.
frame,
I know
because
what you're
you're
asking.
you're saying that there is things that you never gonna teach.
Yeah, it's not a time frame. Okay, I'll just save you a whole lot of frustration and chasing
Okay.
something isn't going to do. Um,
Okay.
for instance, let me tell you two things, and I've said this many times, and everybody is welcome to fry me and roast me right here if I'm not telling the truth.
Okay.
I have to submit to 6 o'clock opening price because I don't know
Yes.
where that is. I don't know where it is. I would like to see certain things
Yes.
behave a certain way. Like I would like to see a gap down. I would like to see a gap below a specific level or gap up above here. Or
Yes.
if it opens relatively unchanged, that means a whole lot too. But I have to submit to that opening price at 6 o'clock and I have to wait until midnight Eastern time to get that opening price. Once I have those two reference points, then I'm going back to the weekly chart and the daily
Okay.
chart. And
Okay.
what that's going to do is help me. Do me a favor. Let me talk because when you say something,
Yeah.
I'm stopping to
Sorry.
hear what you're
Sorry.
saying.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
just
I'm sorry. Yeah.
it's just it's a tick for me. I do this with my family members. If I'm asked to answer something, let me say what I got to say, and then I want to hear what your response is. If I didn't do a good job of answering it, clearly I'll give you the opportunity to do that. But I have to submit to 6 o'clock opening price. Then I have to submit to the midnight opening price at Eastern time. And by having those two reference points, then going back to the weekly chart, where is it likely to draw to? And then I go to the daily chart. What is it doing right now based on where I think the weekly draw is and how these individual key points of previous day and the last five opening range gaps, where we're at in terms of proximity to the new week opening gaps and new day opening gaps, and then having that matrix of everything on your chart in concert with where that weekly and daily draw is likely to take us. If it's going to move higher, go through the weekly profiles and the daily profiles that I teach in my private mentorship and only look for the bullish ones. There isn't a lot of them. And then you wait for those types of schematics, those little squiggly lines I made, where the daily candle will form based on that. Now, you're going to see there's going to be slight little variances, but they generally fit those criteria. So if you filter out the opposite direction because of higher time frame draw and liquidity, you already beat most of the problem everybody else falls victim to because they look at whatever they're looking at in price action and chase whatever's moving. So don't think in terms of there's a specific time frame. It's a mode of going through higher time frame. Where is it likely to go to? You can't get a better draw than the weekly, and it takes a long time for these things to pan out. So it gives you lots of opportunity to prepare for it. And then go into the daily chart. What key levels is it going to use? What was yesterday's daily high? If it's bullish, you know it's going to likely draw there. So how does that work with the open at 6 o'clock? Where are we at with the midnight opening price? And if it's bullish, generally we would like to see what? A drop down, a Judas to get people offside. So what profile am I teaching on those daily profiles? Give that type of context. And then it helps you frame out all these things that I've given you visual representation of, but you have to have the logic I've already taught. So it's not a time frame. It's a blending of all these things, and they're like ingredients. Okay, it's bullish. So what am I looking for that's bullish? Okay, what would constitute something bullish? Well, if we gap up at 6 o'clock, so we now have new day opening gap, it could pull down into that new day opening gap. And that might be a low that's useful for making the low of the day. Or if it leaves it open and we trade higher going up into midnight at Eastern time, if it doesn't travel too far away, okay, and that's a relative term, it may create a short-term high there and then pull back all through London, and during London trade down to the new day opening gap. And then if it starts showing me strength there to go back up, then I can look at the New York session and anticipate a rather small retracement lower, regardless of where it opens up at. Or if it opens up with a strong gap opening from a not relative, I've been doing that lately, regular trading hours opening range gap, if it has a really extreme opening gap greater than 200 handles, then I'm going to look for a gap and go scenario where it may not even go 25% of retracement into the opening range gap. It just may open a little bit of flirt lower and it's take off and keep going higher. So it's a matter of looking at where all these things may fit. And don't be afraid of expecting one specific daily profile to fail in your hands because you're learning. But if one fails, what does it do? It reduces the list of what it's going to be. And it takes your attention to, okay, well, it didn't do that. It wasn't a classic buy day. So what is it doing? What are the other profiles suggest? And then by doing that, repeating it every week, you should all be doing that, going back and back testing like that and collecting that information. I've said all these things before, but don't think that I'm hiding a specific time frame, because that's not what I'm doing. I've already told you how to do these things, but most of you don't want. It takes effort. It takes a desire to do it. You have to organize your thoughts. You have to collect screenshots, and it takes effort. And that's why I made it that way, because the lazy won't do it. They won't do it, but it's already been out there. It already taught that. They're all saying, show me how to get a daily high and a low. I just did it again here. I just did it right here. And you have to take the building blocks that I put for free out there on the YouTube channel in the 2016, 2017 paid mentorship. It's all there. It's all there. So I'm not hiding anything from you. I told you what to do with the information, how to place it, plug and play, but you have to do the work to see how it manifests in price action. There's going to be slight little deviance over here and there. It might look a little different sometimes, but generally it's the same consensus. It fits one of those profiles. It's going to fit one of them. And if you can determine whether it's bullish or bearish, you already have 80% of the battle out of the way. And you just got to wait and see what those opening prices tell you.